Hey everybody, welcome to Career Highlights. Hi April. Listen, you guys are in for a treat on today. If you have questions, drop them in the chat, comments. We have two top master stylist, permanent makeup artist here with us. I don't even want to say it wrong, April, so I'm wrong if I
You're fine.
It's your profession here. But they are sought after. That's all I know. I know India's always booked, and April just shared before we started that she's booked a month out. So that right there tells us that they're doing something right. So hopefully we can learn some things. But before we get started, let us know who's on with us. So we want our students to place a heart emoji in the comments, a parent by placing a smiley face, an educator using a thumbs up, or a community partner by placing a gift box in the comments. That will let April, India, and myself know who's on the line with us and who we're talking to. So we just want to know who's in the room. Let us know where you're tuning in from, whether it's Columbus, represent your high school, represent your school if you're an educator, represent your organization if you're a community partner. So we've got Coach Chad on. Hey, Coach Chad. He said, AKA the best coach. Hey, Coach Chad. So Coach Chad's on. I see we've got several other folks on with us tonight. So just waiting for everyone to check in. Again, we have the India and the April. Listen, you guys keep us ladies looking amazing. Yes. Amazing. Okay. Listen, I'm just happy. I'm just happy we can come see you now.
I know, right?
With restrictions, but we can still see you. It's important. It's important. We're gonna get into that in a minute because listen, they were dropping nuggets before. I got the little inside scoop. So I'm going to enjoy this inside scoop that I have, but I can't wait for them to share. We got Coach Chris on the line.
Hi, Coach Chris.
With us.
Hello.
And Chris said he gonna let that one slide to Chad. So welcome, the program manager, the man himself, Mr. Anthony Murphy, is on as well. Thanks, Anthony, for joining. She told me a story, by the way, Anthony. I'm not going to share it, but she did give me a background. So I'm like, aha, me and you will talk later. Yeah. Oh, and Monique's on. April.
Hi, Monique.
She said hi. I'll put it up. Yep, there you go. She said hi, Monique. Hi. Here. All right. And we've got Sean Richmond on. We've got some more mini folks. So we're going to give them a few more seconds to jump in. While we start, if you guys want to just share us a little bit about, just give us your name and the name of your company and some of the services you offer. Don't jump into all of what you do because then we got to go back and ask. So, April, if you want to start first, or India, it doesn't matter what. People tell us who's coming in the room. So,
my name's Apryl Cook-Richmond, Apryl Richmond, either. I am a permanent makeup artist here in Gahanna, Ohio. I service pretty much anyone that wants to drive into Central Ohio to get permanent makeup services. Specifically, I focus on eyebrows, microblading, ombre brows, micro shading, combo brows. That's mainly what I do here. I'm also an esthetician, but I do focus more on permanent makeup.
All right, Miss India.
Hi, my name is India Abate. I am also in Gahanna. Wonderful place to be. I do eyelash extensions and I specialize in natural hair. And I do service pretty much everybody in Central Ohio, some people from different parts of Ohio too. So yeah, that's what I do. And I do facials and
All right. So again, we're about to jump in. I'm gonna give you all a few more seconds. I see people chiming in. So again, tell us if you're a student by placing a heart emoji in the comments, a parent by placing a smiley face in the comments, an educator using that thumbs up, and a community partner by placing a gift box. We just want to know who's rocking with us tonight. I think we've got a couple youth with us. Make sure you share this. We're going to be talking about entrepreneurship, marketing, hiring staff, how they dealt with COVID. Like, come on. We were all struggling with this here COVID.
was amazing though. I can't even. I mean, like the self time of COVID was amazing. Outside of the chaos of the world, but like
and us like let me in, me in.
The internal time to like have self building, like loving yourself time was just so amazing during COVID. So
that's good.
I can appreciate COVID for some of the things that it brought to me personally outside of business.
That's good. Well, we're going to just jump in. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please place them in the chat. So you guys told us you're both in Gahanna, one specializing in permanent makeup, as an esthetician. India, you're a cosmetologist.
Yes.
So natural hair, coloring, lashes, facials, the whole nine. Yes. This is going to be fun. So I'm not even going to start about the career journey first. I just want to know, how did you guys manage COVID and then coming back? Because I know it was different for me as someone who partitions beauty services. Like, what was that transition like?
You want to start off, India? Go ahead.
Sure. So managing COVID. So honestly, the only way as a self-employed entrepreneur to since we couldn't physically work on our clients, I did it, like I said earlier, a lot of self-time, building with myself, getting to know myself so I can be ready to fill my clients. Because, as beauty specialists, we also are very in tune with our clients. We talk to them and we feed them a lot of information, and we fill them. So I feel like I was filling my cup up to continue to fill my women's cup up when they got back. So the transition back to work was great. It was actually amazing. I missed all my clients. It was phenomenal. It was a little hard trying to go back to working very hard. I think what COVID taught me was to kind of have a great balance between overworking, which we tend to do in this industry because we can, you know what I'm saying? And then the demand is there. So sometimes we do overwork. So I think that the transition from COVID back to regular working was more so balancing between the newfound loving my free time and love building myself up so that I can give to my clients when I come back. So I think it was just the time management, but my clients came right back. They were ready. They were like, I was like, yes, girl, what do you 7 a.m., 7 p.m., whatever. It was great it was phenomenal to reconnect with my clients again, because I love them so much. So I think the transition from COVID specifically was just more so managing time. So I had found a new love of oh wow, I do enjoy off days, I guess,
I think for me, it was, I was very busy when COVID happened. I was actually attending the spa school, working on an aesthetics license, as well as the tattoo license that I had already had. So I was going full-time and working full-time as well. So, when they contacted me and let us know, hey, you guys have to close effective immediately, I was okay with that because I felt like I needed a break.
Okay.
So I was totally okay with that. I'm truly thankful that, my spouse, works, and I didn't really have a financial impact when it came to taking that time off. I had saved and we had saved, and he also works. So that was fine for me. I felt like it was a much needed break. But at the same time, I was happy when it was time to open back up. I was ready to jump back in. There were things that I worked on during that downtime. Things just behind the scenes, things like, arranging classes, marketing info, all of that stuff. I had time to do those things, but also really just take a mental break from just being so busy. And then again, I shared this with you a little earlier. COVID kind of did the opposite for, I feel like, some of us in the beauty industry. I feel like a lot of women felt like, hey, if we go through another lockdown, I want to look good, so I'm going to have some eyebrows if we get locked down again.
Now that's funny.
And so what happened is when I came back, I got swarmed. Now everybody wanted eyebrows. They were like, this is self-care time. You only live once, so, and I just ended up getting swamped to the point where I'm not even able to offer aesthetic services anymore because I'm so full with permanent makeup services. I'm typically booked at least a month out in advance. And so it really worked well for me. Again, deepest condolences to those that have been affected directly from COVID. Yeah. We've lost people in our family.
Oh, wow. I'm so sorry.
So no, it's okay. But COVID is very real. And so I respect the public health department for issuing those mandates. And we just did everything we were supposed to do. And I am happy to be back and see my ladies. So,
and I'm pretty sure they're happy to see you all. Listen, like you said, they were like, "Open up!" I was that one. Like, when? Like, come on! Like, I can't do much more of this. But I'm joking. But I mean, so it's great to see that you guys are you guys use that time to like get yourself together. Not saying get yourself together, but kind of reflect. Get things in order. And like you said, when it was time to go back, you were fully ready. I think that's awesome. So talk about have you guys always want to do the beauty industry, wanted to be either a permanent makeup artist as you are, or in cosmetology? Is that kind of what your goal was? Or what was that like? How did you decide?
That's so funny. Yeah, that's pretty funny. So one of my best friends, actually, she's tuned in right now. She'll tell you throughout high school, I was always that friend that was like, hey, let me grab a razor. Let me cut your eyebrows. Can I shape them? And, I'm not going to go into that story. She's probably laughing right now, but I was always the one, let me put some eyeshadow on you and all that.
Okay.
So as soon as I got out of high school, I actually went to Ohio State for about a year for biology pre-med. I thought I wanted to be a doctor, but yet I also had this very artsy side, but academically I was very good too. So it was like this, I was kind of torn, trying to follow that traditional path because that was what was expected of me, from a lot of my family members. But yet my parents were very supportive. They were like, we just want you to do what makes you happy, follow your passion. It just took me a long time to figure that out. So I ended up getting into makeup, but still worked in a medical setting as a full-time job, but did makeup full-time as well. And I ended up doing that for over 15 years and then transitioned into, in 2017, transitioned into permanent makeup, which is still beauty. It just doesn't wipe off. So India can probably attest to it. I feel like a lot of people kind of turn their head at the alternative paths for career wise. There's so much pressure on our youth to follow traditional pathways, and I really feel like I'm thankful that I had my mom and dad encouraging me, like, hey, it doesn't have to look the way everyone expects it to look. If you want to follow a different path, then do what you love to do. And my friends have been amazing. They've always encouraged me. And that is the best thing I could have ever done. I didn't really let those words, some people put in my ears, like, you'll never make any money doing that. You'll never, you need to be aren't you a doctor? Like that kind of stuff, had that stuff going in my ears too. And I just feel like at that age, it's so young to force an adolescent one way. And I just feel like we should really be cultivating these youth and into the things that they really love to do. If you love working on cars, hey, guess what? You can own an auto shop.
Sure.
You can have employees.
Literally.
That kind of thing. So that's kind of how I ended up where I am.
All right, that's good.
So I can relate to April with what she said. She first started off at OSU for biology pre-med. I ended up going right when I graduated from high school. I went to OSU too for psychology. Kind of doing it right now.
Look at you too. It's hilarious.
That's so funny. So I ended up, I do have two children. I had a child young, and I was in school, and then I had my daughter, and I always, since I was young, maybe 9th grade, 8th grade, 7th grade, my aunts, when they would come into town for big weddings that we have, I would always do everybody's hair. I would do everybody's hair all the time. I didn't even realize what was in me. They're just like, India, Joy, do my hair. I'm like, sure, cool, perfect. I love it. I would just love, oh, auntie, come on, let me do your hair. Then my friends, they'd be like, can you do my makeup for prom? Yeah. Like, sure, I'll do your makeup for prom. So it kind of started off like that. And then when I got pregnant with my child, my mom was just like, hey, India, why don't you just go to hair school? I was like, oh, ding, that makes sense. So I went to hair school maybe 8 months after I had my daughter. And then from there, it was literally over. I went to Paul Mitchell, and I was the top stylist at Paul Mitchell. I was requested all the time. There was in Paul Mitchell, we would have half day in class, and then the other half of the day you'd be on the floor. I would end up being on the floor because if you're like, can I have India? Can I have India? I'm like, sure, okay. So I ended up like getting through hair school like financially because I worked so much in hair school and I was requested. So my mom pushed me. I definitely dealt with the whole adversity of like, wow, you what are you doing, India? Like, you know, side of my family, like, you're going to be hairstylist? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be hairstylist, you know? So I had to be confident. My mom, like, she was like my main driving force of like, India, I know you. Like, I know you. This is what you're good at. You know, this is, you like people. Like, this is totally you. And so I just had faith in myself and like my mom. And I kind of just felt my way through it. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I got pushed through, you know, my creativity, me not really realizing the gifts. My mom did recognize it in me. She was like, this is you. And then shortly after I graduated hair school, my best friend, her mom, she was like, India, you'll just be great at eyelash extensions. And once again, I'm just like, you know, doing me, and somebody's pointing out a gift to me that I didn't recognize at the time. And she was like, India, you'd be great at eyelash extensions. I was like, sure, what are those? Like, I had no idea what they are. And so I was open to it, just being open, not even knowing what it was. I was like, sure, okay. So I went and I listened to her, and then I followed along with her. And then literally maybe 6 months after I learned how to do eyelash extensions, also kind of like with hair, I was just like demanded, like, oh, India, can you do my eyelash extensions? And it kind of opened up from there. But within the journey, I really enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed my clients. I enjoyed meeting people. I enjoyed like doing the work. Like, I didn't realize how much I was working because I actually enjoyed my time doing it.
And that's what work should be like. It shouldn't feel like work, right? It should
just,
you should enjoy it because you're doing what your purpose is. And I think that's very important. And you ladies are nailing it. And we do have a question already from Coach Chad. He said, how hard was it to build your clientele? And I know that's always a thing coming out of hair school. Some people don't make that transition because they can't build their clientele enough up, especially if you have a family and you are a single parent and you have a family and you don't have that. So share a little bit about your journey with that piece. Thanks, Chad, for that question.
So for me, because my first job, when I first got into makeup, my first job was at the MAC counter. I met thousands of women. And from there, like, I was there for quite some time. Then I ended up freelancing for them, but also freelancing for like Dior, and then becoming a regional artist for Lancome. And so I met so many women, and I knew so many people from school, high school, just kind of all walks of life. So by the time I was started to do makeup, people from the MAC counter followed me. I just had a lot of clients, and I ended up doing, I worked probably 45, 50 weddings a year on top of private clientele. So I didn't have to work hard for that. You know, that was just a little easier for me. And then when I transitioned to PMU, I had that whole entire back end client base from when I did 15 plus years of makeup. So I kind of had, that. I will say, when I did first start off, like as soon as I left the counter and I had people following me, I did a little marketing thing where I offered a free face for every 5 clients that one of my clients sent me. So I had my clients out there working for me that I didn't have to pay them. So everywhere they went, they're passing out my card saying, hey, Toya referred me to you to get makeup done, and I would track it. And then I'd reward them with their 5 clients. And then with their free face. So once I got to a certain point where I didn't need any more, then I stopped that promo. But I do believe when you're first starting off, if you are looking to build clients, you should do some kind of promo that doesn't really require a whole lot. Like, your clients will work for you. If they love the work, they believe in you, they love you, they will go hard for you. Yeah, and my clients were amazing. Yeah. So go ahead, Indy.
That's so true. Just to piggyback off of what she said, I feel like our stories once again are a little similar. I started off at Ulta Beauty, and so I started off at Ulta Beauty. Actually, let me just start with Paul Mitchell, because I still have clients from Paul Mitchell. So I started building clientele when I was actually in hair school, before I was like licensed. And then once I got licensed, I was working at Ulta, and I met a couple people there along the way. Then I went to a friend's salon, and I met a couple people. And it was so, honestly, I was enjoying, like I said previously, I enjoyed the process so much that it just came naturally. building clients. And like she said, you do have to do this footwork with like, I would do $75 full sets, which, full sets start at $125 and go all the way up to $250, $300. So I did have really great promotions going on when I first started to build clientele.
Yeah.
And, your clients will do the work for you. You literally have, if you're creative and you enjoy what you do and you put real integrity behind your work and you love it and you're passionate, your clients feel that, and you attract those kind of clients that, oh, who did? Yeah, India, she did it. Like they will do all of the marketing work for you, So I'm so grateful for my wonderful clients who do that, like who share me with the rest of their friends.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I wanted to just touch a little bit on what you just said when you talked about integrity. I feel like that is the biggest thing in our industry. And I feel like if you have integrity going in this, and every person you work on, every client you have, if you have that inside of you, what I live by is God is always watching. And everything that I do, the way I handle someone, he sees all of it. There's nothing that can be hidden from him. So it's kind of like in everything I do, is it pleasing to him? So I can't mistreat my clients. I don't do this because of the money. I do this because I love this, because I love people. And when you have that passion, it works together and people want to work with you. And there's a lot of people in this industry. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't have integrity, and you'll hear a lot of that, and so one thing that will always separate you from somebody else is your integrity. Are you treating people the way that you want to be treated? And that will separate you from a lot of other people.
And so, additional question for the clientele, like, do you feel there's certain skill sets? Because I know you guys, it's kind of came natural. So if someone who may be shy, but they're good at the craft, they want to do permanent makeup, or they want to do lashes and hair, or do esthetician services, what are some things that they need to keep in mind so they can keep, like you said, Indy, you had people from Paul Mitchell that followed you. You had 15 years coming from Mac, Lancome, and Dior that followed you to Sway. So how did you... what skill sets do you think are important if you want to move into this industry for individuals to have? And then we have a question after that, another question.
You can start, Indy. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think skill set. I think I don't know if it's a skill set, but being open. Being open is really, really good, so that you can be open to talk to different people, to have different kind of conversations, being open to different opportunities. So not being so, being introverted is okay in a sense, but you do have to have some type of openness about you in order to build your clientele. Because if you're kind of closed off, I think, and confidence level, confidence in your skill. But if you're kind of closed off, then you can't, with anything in life, you're not open to recognize opportunity. I think that another skill set with developing clientele is... good question, Toya. Skill set with... I think you have to be creatively talented, and actually talented of what you're with what you're doing. So in the beauty industry, if it's with your hair, you have to actually be not like having the knowledge to know what you're doing, have the creativity to do it. And yeah, I think once she talks, and make more pop in my head.
I think for me, I think the biggest thing is that you have to be teachable. You have to be teachable. If you come into this and you really don't want to listen to people, you just think you know everything already, I don't really see you getting really far in maintaining a client base, because people can feel that. But I think if you come in and you're teachable, you're willing to learn, you want to learn. And the second most important thing is putting in the work. A lot of people don't want to put in the work. They think that they're just going to get it. And you have to put in the work. For makeup, for myself, I mean, I was always creative, but for makeup, I taught myself that. This was back when I'm a little older than Indy, but this was back when Tyra Banks was a model. We didn't have YouTube. I'm not self-taught by YouTube. I would break open magazines and I would study models' faces, and I would look at their makeup and the textures on their eyes. And I would go to my makeup palettes and learn. And I taught myself texture. I taught myself looks, fashion, beauty, print, all of that stuff, all by myself. because I took time and I put time in that and I wanted to learn it. I do think that all of this is something that can be taught. You don't necessarily have to be born with this gift of being great in the beauty industry. You can be taught this, but you have to put the work in. It's not just going to fall in your lap.
I totally agree with the work. Like, I think that's what I was trying to figure out. Like, what kind of actually specific skills do you need? Because if you're like, you're teachable and you're willing, and you have a knack for something, it's like the hard work behind it that gets you to where you need to be. You know, like definitely agree.
I also think too that sometimes we see people online and we see their success and we see all of this, but you don't know the tears it took to get there. You don't know the price, the cost of loss. You don't know how much it cost, you know, mentally, physically, financially, for them to get where they are. You don't know the story. So don't get caught up in just seeing the success. Know that there's going to be a journey to this. You know, it's not going to skip you. You just cannot give up.
Right. Because the success in the end, you still could have failures. But we have a question from someone, Deviana.
I've talked with her on IG. So
good. She said, "Hey, so I want to do eyebrows. My question is still should I still go to school for them, or does it matter?" So
definitely. Sorry.
No. So when you say eyebrows, I know what you're talking about, but I don't think the rest of everyone else knows what you're talking about, because you have eyebrows, you have waxing, tinting, you know, you have that kind of eyebrows, and then you have permanent makeup eyebrows. So I believe, just because I've chatted with Daviana, that I know she's talking about specifically PMU, permanent makeup, right? So for permanent makeup, it's a little different because we fall under a different license. Indi has a cosmetology license. I'm an esthetician, but I also have a tattoo license. Because permanent makeup breaks skin, we are not regulated by the Ohio State Board of Barber and Cosmetology. We are regulated by the local health departments. So we have 2 local health departments here in Franklin County. I'm regulated by one of those, and I have a tattoo license through them. To get that tattoo license, there is criteria you have to get to attach to that tattoo licensing packet, send it off, and come get it, and they come and inspect you. So you have to get a certification. So that's going to be a training that you do through somebody that is licensed and that specifically has the tattoo license. They will certify you. So you need to do a training with them for that. And then you will need to get your bloodborne pathogens certification online and your first aid certification online. And then you place all of those pieces together with your application and all of the criteria that need to be attached to that. In addition, right, there are, like, you have to have a space to work out of. You have to have hot and cold running water. You have to have a sink. There's lots of rules and laws, but all of those things are gone over they should be gone over in your certification for the actual work that you would be doing. They should be going over all of that stuff, showing you how you would fill out that application and all of the things that you need to make sure that you're not, that your infection control protocols are exactly where they need to be, so you're not spreading disease.
That's good. And then, Mindy, do you want to touch on the waxing and tinning and
Oh yes, so you definitely need to have your license, whether it's your cosmetology license, your esthetician license, and your tattooing license. With all certifications, that just is teaching you how to do it, but your license is what makes it legal and practice. And also, not even just being legal, just what you said, like, always be willing to learn. Some people think, I know how to do it, but you don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the biology of your body, your skin, and how different diseases show up in your skin, how different diseases and infections show up in your eyes, and understanding and knowing how biology of your body works, and just recognizing different things is very important when you're working over people or you're working with actual human beings. You know, you're touching actual human beings' skin, you're touching their hair. It's very, very important to get your license. And I did recognize that is, like she was saying earlier, April was saying, how people see on social media, and I think it's like so wonderful. It is wonderful, but you definitely can't take the shortcut. You definitely have to go get your license.
You do.
You definitely have to.
Especially, it is, especially, just so there's no confusion, I want to decipher between like aesthetics cosmetology versus PMU.
Yes.
We aesthetics and cosmetology, most of the time they're just dealing with two levels of like sanitation and disinfection. With PMU, because we deal with blood and bodily fluids with every single client, we have to do sanitation, disinfection, and sterilization. So we're adding a third level of killing any, microorganism, whether dead or alive, on any surface. So you can't go into PMU and think that you can just run some disinfectant over a microblading tool and then work on the next person and use it. We go another step because we deal with lymphatic fluid. We deal with blood with every single client, and certain diseases, which you would learn in COS and SD school as well, certain diseases stay alive on surfaces for up to 7 days. So you could literally be transmitting hepatitis to a client. You could transmit HIV to a client. So this industry, PMU specifically, goes really, really in depth with infection control. And this is why you don't want to shortcut this. You want to make sure that whoever is training you really is going over proper protocol when it comes to breaking down a station after it's completely contaminated. So you don't have pigment bottles sitting on dirty trays. All of those things would need to be thrown away. So it is a lot of rules, and you just want to make sure you're being trained well. Because all that plays into what you do. The last thing you want is a lawsuit because you gave someone a disease. Yeah. And that's really big. You have to treat every single client like they're HIV infected.
Wow.
Every single one. So that's going to be one of the differences between those two pathways. We're similar, but at the same time, we are different as well.
Yeah. That's
Hopefully
good.
That answers your question.
Yeah, I think, Daviana, if you have any more questions, that was a great one. Please ask any additional ones you have. We have another question from Mr. Sean Richmond. Describe some of the behind-the-scenes activities that make up the business side of your work. And I think that's huge for both sides. So whoever.
You can kick off, Indy.
Okay. Behind the scenes is one, communicating with your clients every day.
Every day. I say it again, Indy.
Every day.
Every day.
I do have a day where I don't, which is my Sunday. Before I didn't have that balance, but behind the scenes work is definitely making sure you communicate with your clients so that you do care, because we do, you know what I'm saying? But not being too lax. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get to that later. I'm gonna get to them. I'll text them 3 days later. It's being up on the communication, whether it's you or you hired somebody to help you do that, because it is a lot. Scheduling your clients. That's another thing, making sure that your schedule is on point, because you're not coming in every day with it made for you. You're making it for you. So you don't just get to show up. You have to create and then show up and be satisfied with what you create, be satisfied with your schedule. So make sure you're creating a schedule for yourself that's balanced, that you can take care of you and your clients and your family. Also money management, that's one thing, because, kind of figuring out, rent, your booth rent, and different things, and how to make sure you're profiting off of everything that you're doing, and you're not working harder than you're getting paid, because sometimes I think at the beginning that's what we do, which is part of the learning process. So it's okay to have to kind of fall and butt your head like, oh, wow, I worked so much today, and it's okay. I see what I did. You know what I'm saying? Managing your money and, social media or marketing in general. So if you're not hiring somebody to help you do that, especially at the beginning stages, you're not really able to hire somebody. Marketing, making sure you're putting yourself out there, make sure you're presenting yourself properly to the public. And once again, since I think we're kind of like psychologists, kind of making sure that
you two
you're
are
a therapist as well. You are definitely a therapist.
Making sure that you behind the scenes work is really working on yourself, because we're touching people every day. Our energy is transmitting to humans. So a big part of behind the scenes is making sure you fill your cup up every day too.
That's good, Indy. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh God, I think there's multiple things that make up the behind the scenes. It's so funny because my husband's the one that asked the question.
I know what
He's
you
like, I'm busy back here. You better talk about this. I know, right? So I think that's huge. There's so much that makes up the behind the scenes. I personally recommend, my husband has an accounting degree, so that helped me out a lot. So when it comes to financial things that I don't have time to sit and dive into and study out, I'm like, hey, got a project for you. Find this out. I think that I recommend, no matter what age you are, that you really dive into differences between LLCs and differences between that compared to being, switching to S corp for tax purposes. Lots of people think LLCs are the way to go, but if you are an LLC and you have W-2 employees, guess what? You're paying payroll taxes. You're paying unemployment taxes. You're paying all of this money outgoing. You're basically getting double tax as an LLC. So I can only speak for myself. We're in the process of switching over our status to S corp because I would actually save money that way. But those kinds of things are things I never thought about in the beginning when I first started my business. But when you start to have employees and stuff like that, those are things that you want to think about. Also, you want to know where your money is going. You don't want to just, if you make $200,000 that year, you don't want to spend $50,000 just going down the drain in all kinds of taxes. So dive into those kinds of information. If you want to take a class or an online course or something just to help understand how to manage your records, I'm very thankful because he does that for us. But that's really big. And then like Indy said, work-life balance. When I started with makeup, I did not have work-life balance. My clients were able to access me every single day of the week, all hours of the day, all hours of the night. I never had free moments and I got burnt out. So when I went into PMU and transitioned into PMU, I got a separate phone for my business. I have a phone for my personal.
You too.
I have days that I shut down. I'm not talking on Sunday. I need a day as well. I need to make sure that I take care of me or I'm no good to anyone. But another thing is the biggest thing for me is really customer service. I feel like customer service really sets people apart from others, right? And then in the day and age we're in right now with viruses and all kinds of stuff, it's sad COVID had to happen for people to wash their hands all the time. But I'm saying I don't want to go get serviced and someone is going back and forth from their cell phone to my face. I'm not coming back to you. Yeah. I'm not. I don't like germs. I want to know that I'm the focus. So with my clients, my time is not spent on my cell phone while I'm working on you. You are my focus. You're paying me a lot of money to do a luxury service and you have to feel important, right? On top of that, I don't want to contaminate my workspace. So I think just, those are things that you want to think about. My generation is a little different though. We're a little older, we didn't have cell phones when we were kicking off into the work world. But I'm saying I turned you cannot reach me by phone that way. But anyways, I think boundaries, you have to have boundaries or you're going to get burnt out. You're just going to get burnt out.
I agree with her 100%.
And it's funny, you both have phones, a work phone.
Yeah, you have to.
I think the first time I met Indy, I was like, "Why do you have two phones? Just do it silent." She's like, "Nope."
And I need to be able to put it away. Online scheduling is everything.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because I was going to say, but other behind the scenes is like using the use of technology. I'm pretty sure you guys, I remember back in the day, like when I used to go to the hairdresser with my mom and then the lady had the appointment booked. Now you can like book online. It sends you a text message reminder, setting all that stuff up. That takes time though. So like if the person does this, then the system does that. But still, that's behind the scenes stuff that Sean was asking about. That's
and that's only, my online scheduling system is $25 a month. And it does everything for me. It's not this super huge investment. Yeah, you have to take the time to put your data in there, but it's not this super miracle that fell from the sky. It's very easy, and it will make your life so much better.
So much better, because I tried that whole book thing beginning when I first started. I was like,
you have no life.
Online scheduling situation is amazing because there's so many people who want to be independently, not text you and wait for you to respond or call back. They want to, they have their schedule in front of them. Like, oh, let me see what my schedule is compared to her. So that online scheduling situation.
It's amazing.
That was a great question. Thank you, Mr. Sean. We got another question from Mr. Sean.
Oh my God.
He says, please share how you dealt with the challenges, disappointments, and discouragement during your career. As we know, being an entrepreneur can be challenging at times. We should have Sean co-host. I love Sean. I'm loving him. I am. I love it. These are great questions.
Oh, Lord.
And I haven't even hit all mine. We're just going to flow, like I told you guys. So disappointments and challenges. Who wants it? I'm going to put it back up so you can read it. It was kind of, there you go.
Let me think about that.
Well, I can go while you think. I know from myself, there are so many challenges. There's so many disappointments. Honestly, I feel like in this industry, in multiple industries, you know, when you are successful, sometimes you can lose people. Um, Sometimes it's a mirror for them. They don't, because they're not where they have always aspired to be, but they see you doing what you're doing. That doesn't make people comfortable sometimes. And so I feel like there's loss sometimes. And that hurts. You know, I also feel like there were so many times in my career where I wasn't for sure, like, do I step out on faith and do this? Even though it makes sense to no one around me. It doesn't even make sense to my husband, right? But to me, I have this burning desire in me and my relationship with the Lord. And I know the Lord's like, do it. If you do it, I got you. I said, whatever you put your hands to, I would prosper.
That's right.
You know, and so for me, I had to know his voice for myself and tune everything else out and go with what he told me to do. So when I have those challenging moments and those disappointments, because they do come and it does hurt, I have to pray. I have to pray. I got to go to the Lord and I need him to fill me up. And that's how I get through that. And I do have an amazing support system, an amazing group of friends that I surround myself with, my family, and we just keep going, you know.
Yes, so I can definitely agree with April. With I think the disappointing element of it is more so within your personal life. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, she really can't handle what's going on in my life. Oh, wow, she really can't handle. So I think it's the loss of longer friendships. That's the disappointing element of it. I think challenging is, for me personally, challenges would be like learning my personal life versus my business life and balancing them. Would be my challenge. Is balancing my life and filling my cup up, because sometimes you give so much that you have to do that, which I keep saying, but I think it's so important. And then discouragement. I think the discouragement may be at the beginning of your career in the beauty industry because of the stigma on like beauty industry versus like, you know, working, getting your degree and doing it from there. So I think after you pass that part, there's not really too much discouraging elements, at least personally, that I have experienced, because I'm not, you know, getting ridiculed on the internet or anything, because I'm a huge social media presence at the moment. So I think maybe if that was the case, I'd be probably, there may be some discouraging elements if I was like so open for criticism. But since I'm not really discouraged. I do follow, you know, the God and me, and just, you know, I do follow God and his guidance system within like how I operate. And he boosts my like confidence in myself and the knowing that I'm following what's the burning desire that's inside of me. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to discouragement, I have so much faith that it's really hard at this point in my career to be discouraged. Now, at the beginning, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, I agree.
Disappointments come along with the family and friends element that fall off, because it's like, oh wow, okay, that is discouragement. And the challenges, I think, is like managing like the behind the scenes stuff, you know, that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Now, I know, back to behind the scenes, since you mentioned it, I know, like, I don't know if you do. So, do you do training as well, April? Like, are you a person that, say, it's Daviana, once she graduates, she wants to come to you for training? I know, I think, Indy, you do offer classes
I do
too.
actually.
So,
Yeah, I do train in PMU and do certifications for that. I do them. I do one class per month.
okay.
So yeah, I do offer that.
That's awesome. So, have you found, I know, are you doing anything virtually due to COVID? Or are you still doing it face to face? You're not?
I don't do virtual. And there's no shade on those that do virtual, but I feel like in this industry, I feel like you have to have somebody in person working with you, because it's about technique. It's about developing your own technique and trying to learn from a computer screen, without somebody watching you move your hand and create these strokes. I just feel like it would be more challenging for you to jump off. And honestly, like I said, this industry, it's a great industry. I love it. It's very lucrative. However, I don't want to compromise my integrity and just do a bunch of online things to make a bunch of money if the fruit is not there in the end. You know, that's just me personally. So I don't offer virtual. I really want my students to be here with me so I can watch and really critique. I just love hands-on. Right. So that's, kind of like lash extensions. I'm sure Indy does lash extensions, like just teaching someone lash extensions online versus them right in front of you. It's kind of like, they're really going to honestly do better in front of you, if we're just being honest. So
yeah, I definitely believe that, especially with your line of work, like with the tattooing, is definitely hands-on. I do believe it is better like to be able to like hands-on physically watch your clients and do that. I am actually diving into the world of virtual. So I am now exploring how virtual training classes will be. So I'm excited. I don't really know too much about, feedback is going to be very helpful for me in learning how to maneuver through this new world of virtual. Since there's a lot of different virtual, people are adapting to virtual now, like computer online, like I can do, so just diving in, tapping into this world and seeing how it does. I'm very excited about that. So I do agree, I'm in the middle, mixed a little bit.
Well, some people love that though. Some people love
especially
virtual.
Especially if you have a client that's not in the city, like Woody, I think that's like I think
it's
that
good for that.
Yeah.
It definitely is, especially if you have people who want you. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's different people in different cities that like, there's a training you can go and get trained by, plenty of people in the city that do it. But I have been probed like, I want you to do it, but I'm out of town. So
you know what else too? I think with that, I think that when specifically for PMU, when you're brand new, like you don't have any certs, you're not licensed, you're brand new, I think you should do hands-on. If you already have done a hands-on, you can do the rest of your certs virtually because you have an understanding.
That makes sense.
You have already mastered the machine. You know what I mean? So I feel like there is kind of levels. If that makes sense. So like I've taken courses online from people in Cali, and I can learn it just like that because I already have built the foundation.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I don't need to be in person with you. I already know how to do this stuff. I just need this,
Right.
So it's like that.
Yeah. And I guess that comes with the person who is asking for it. They have to be honest with themselves. Am I trying to get a quick fix, or do I really understand it? I just need a little bit more.
Right.
Honestly, because like she said earlier, there's a lot of people who look at this like, oh, I can do it, make money. It's
right.
Like, what it's about,
Yeah.
So,
we've got a question from Coach Chad too. If you guys want to answer quick, do you two accept interns?
I'm exploring that actually. Well, not even that. I do have an intern, but I didn't really realize it was an intern until I realized it was an intern. So yes.
I can't, Indy.
So yeah, I do accept interns, but right now I don't have enough time and space to do more than one at a time period. So yeah, right now currently I do have an intern. I do accept them. It's just when they want timing alignment. That's all.
Yeah. I do not accept interns. I have 2 employees, and I am very busy. I would not even be able to give them what they need because I'm pouring into these employees. So I don't accept interns at this time.
And Daviana has a question. Well, I know how long April classes are, but just in case other people don't know, how long are both of y'all's classes?
My class is 2 days. I have a day where I go over bookwork and mannequin work. And then the second day, bookwork, mannequin work, and then I do a life model. And then the second day is for my client to practice on their mannequin and their own personal life model. Sometimes I give my client the option. I may give too many options, but I do give my student the option of either doing the bookwork and first day and then practice for a week and come to me a week later, or do first day and second day right back to back. So the first day is typically 6 hours. The second day is like 4 to 6 hours, depending upon how quickly they get the information. Sometimes the first day can go on to 7 hours, depending upon. So yeah.
Questions and stuff.
I do have the classes, and mine are 3 days, 8 hours each day. There's a lot to cover, honestly. Through those 3 days are jam packed. Just, I guess, to touch a few items. First day, we'll start off shadowing, and then we get into a lot of book work. Second day, legalities, all kinds of things, learning how to map an eyebrow out. You don't have to have any experience or cause license or aesthetics license to get into PMU. I just teach you how to get your tattoo license so that you can legally offer this as a service. And then third day, we have a live model, but we work as a group on this live model. You're not stuck with somebody, cutting on their skin, doing a whole set of brows by yourself. You would literally be terrified. I know I was terrified. So I do give my client, I don't even make them do it. I say, I want you to feel what human skin feels like to do this on. So if you want to do a couple strokes, hop in, let's do it. But if you're not comfortable with that, then make sure your first model is somebody that you know personally, your mom, your sister, somebody that's okay with you working on them, that you're not going to have all this nervousness in there. But yes, there are 3 days.
Yep. So we're getting to the top of the hour, and I wanted to make sure we got 2 more questions, and then we're going to close out with mine. But I'm loving all the questions we're getting. So Coach Chris is asking, what experiences would you have wanted prior to becoming a professional in this space?
Well, what experiences would I have wanted? Maybe some customer service experience. Probably that would be about it, because I believe you gain a lot of the experience that you need for this industry within the industry. But prior to this industry, like getting into it, I think knowing if you do have good customer service skills or not. Because if you don't have good customer service skills, then it would be very hard for you to thrive. Not saying you can't do it, but you are based off of customer service. And so before I got into cosmetology, I was like in retail, and really only retail I ever did, in banking for a quick second. But I was all customer service. I was talking to people all day, making people happy all day, satisfying their needs all day. You know what I'm saying? So customer service. Yep.
I think definitely customer service. All of my first jobs were all customer service, call centers, customer satisfaction, how to make them happy, how to please somebody that is extremely upset and irate, how to deal with people. And I feel like the younger the generation, because we're in such a technology savvy generation, a lot of our youth are lacking social skills. They don't know how to interview. They don't know how to talk to people because they just text. Everything is right. Everything's behind the phone. So there's no real lives. Like we used to play outside. We didn't have phones, to text and all that. Everything was face to face. And so I think my advice would be, if you are younger, really work on your social skills and, get a customer service job so that your walls can break down when you're meeting someone new. When I was at Mac, the first thing they taught us when somebody walked up to the counter was to compliment them, to immediately drop their guard. So every time you walk to a Mac counter, the first thing you're going to hear is, "Girl, I love your hair. Oh my God, that scarf.
Yep,
Oh
you
my
are
God,
absolutely
those shoes."
correct.
Yeah, like all of
did.
that. And then the
And I was like,
client's
I'm a
like,
hot
"Oh,
mess
but I look
today.
a mess today." But
Exactly.
okay. And then you got them. And so it's kind of like learning those kinds of things, learning how to talk to people effectively. How to not be offended. Maybe somebody's having a bad day. It has nothing to do with you. How do you bring them back down?
How do you?
How do you handle difficult customers?
Yeah.
All of those social skills will help you with that. So I think the most important thing, outside of, you really don't need a lot of, you can learn to be confident. You can learn to be creative, right? If you're born with it, it's great. But if not, you can learn it. But the thing that's going to help you the most is how you deal with people. That's
your snapback.
People will never forget how you dealt with them.
They will never forget how you made them feel.
And they're going to tell everybody how you made them feel. Exactly.
Definitely.
We have one more question before we go to the last couple ones. Robert's asking, how do you ladies get back to the communities, or how do you pour back into the young ladies?
Right now, my way of pouring into young people are the people that I work with every day right now. So I pour into my clients every day at this time. I do have plans on, getting back to the community when it comes to like nonprofit organizations and talking like having platforms where I can talk to women and educate women, especially like women who have been through abuse or like different types of abuses. My plan is to help the women who have been through those things. Yeah. So right now, at this current second, I do give back to my current clients that I have right now. My plans are to kind of give back to women, mothers, and then especially women who have been abused before.
That's good, India.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For us, we actually have, my husband started a nonprofit ministry that feeds the homeless, works with youth, works with different nonprofits, the opioid crisis, getting baskets together for women that were addicts, but now they're clean or they're transitioning to be clean. We personally do a lot of donations to different nonprofits and different just organizations that are helping the community. We do a lot of that, but also I've always been an open book. You're free to reach out, ask me questions. I get clients that come in. I just had a client actually last night who wants to get into PMU. She's flying out to Cali to learn how to do lip blushing. And I laid out a whole entire how you get your license, because I don't know what she's going to be taught in training. This is how you're going to get your license. These are going to be your challenges. This is how you overcome it. She's like, I can't believe you're telling me all of this. And I'm like, we should be doing that. There's enough for all of us.
There's so much for all of us. There's no reason to give this information. If you
I love y'all.
And energy to give the information,
yeah,
why not? Because you can only service how many clients a day? Like 6 to 7 to 8, maybe 5.
I just wish I would have had more people doing that for me. I had to figure out a lot of things on my own, trial and error. And so I know for my trainings, like I'm giving them like years of, hey,
experience,
don't do this. Yeah. Do this,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's great to give back.
So put yourself back in the very beginning and you're starting out, what would you have told your younger self? So you see like Daviana's interested in PMU. And I'm pretty sure we have a couple more folks that either were cosmetologists or looking into getting the cos or the esthetician field. What would you tell your younger self? And then give me 3 things that they should consider as they enter this particular field. I know it's loaded. I can back that up if I need to.
What I would tell my younger self is to stay true to you. Like, feel your way through. Feel your way through. Think some, but don't overthink. And be confident in like the core of you.
That's good.
What was the other one you said?
And then give 3 things to someone who's interested in coming into this industry that they need to know. So like whatever those would be, whether you said no customer service, whatever those things. So those 3 top things. Your 3 top things. My
3 top things would be stay true to you. Stay true to you. Love on yourself. It's a lot of self-loving in this industry. And then make sure you never lose the passion and the reason why.
Wow.
Don't get hung up in like the money, because the money will come as long as you have integrity. Like always be like, okay, I want integrity behind my work. I want goodness behind my work. I want my work to last past looking good for the moment. I want it to look good for 2 weeks or a year, like in the makeup, however long. So don't lose the integrity and the passion behind the work that you do. So staying true to yourself, loving yourself, and then staying true to the passion and integrity that started you in the beginning. Don't get lost in the money element of it.
That's good. April?
I think know that this is what you want to do. Know that sometimes you may be the only one that believes in you. And if that's the case, keep going. But also, I think you should surround yourself with people that believe in you and that are supportive. I think that one of the thieves of this industry is comparison. I don't think that you can tend to fall into that sometimes, comparing yourself to other people that are doing this. Well, look at them. They did this. They have this much. Don't compare yourself to anyone doing this. Just set your goals and strive to meet your goals, and know that what God has for you is for you. And the only way to get to it is to step out and do it. And I think that you should have some type of planning. Start saving your money. It's not cheap to start a business. Like, it can cost a lot of money sometimes. And if you don't want to take out loans, save your money. Be very good with your finances. If you're setting aside, I don't know, 10% of your paycheck, and set a 2-year goal. By 2 years, I want to have my own office space, something like that. But have a plan, don't just do it. Like, just have a plan, prepare. It'll just make things a little easier for you. And then I think lastly, don't get lost in it. Sometimes you can get so busy and caught up in servicing everyone else that you neglect yourself.
Yeah.
And you give, but you're not doing anything for you.
Wow.
That work-life balance is the best thing I could have ever done.
I can agree with you more.
What was you had a last question and I don't remember what it was.
So I asked you for, like, what would you tell your self, and then just the top 3 things that you would leave someone, a youth wanting to go into this industry. Your top three things.
Yeah, I think those would be. I think that would be.
Those are your 3.
Yeah.
And then what would you tell your younger self?
That's what I would tell my younger self.
Your 3 things is your
like I
high five.
Seriously, you don't have to wait till you're 40 to follow your dreams. You can do it when you're 18.
You sure can.
and be established by the time you're 23 years old.
Exactly. Don't be scared from outside.
Don't let fear hold you back, because fear is a liar. And lots of times we're so fearful to just step out and do it that we waste time running around the wilderness when all we had to do was just step out and believe in ourselves.
Say that.
So,
yep. Well, listen, you guys heard it here first. We're going to jump into, just remind you about our College Readiness Wednesdays. We have another one coming up on March 31st. You must register in advance. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about registering, you can always reach out to Mr. Anthony Murphy, who is our program manager. You can check out our programs on our link tree at linktr.ee/LTWLA. We would love for you to join us. So if you're an educator or someone who's a youth or community partner, and you know someone that could benefit from college readiness, please share that information. So ladies, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us. If you
wish to connect with Miss Apryl, she prefers for you to connect with her via email at swaybeauty@gmail.com. So her information's on the screen. This also is available on YouTube. So if you want to go back and watch it again and hear some of the points again, you can do that. That will live on the Lead the Way Learning Academy's YouTube page. And if you wish to contact Indi, check her out on IG at indibeauty.co and connect with both of them, because they're just doing great work.
Thank you.
I'm excited. Like that PMU thing, you said blood though. I'm just behind. I'm like, oh, it is a tattoo. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then Indi with the lashes, and you were talking about infections, and I'm like, wow. And the fact that you both had some type of a medical mindset, it just, you being biology, pre-med, psychology, hair, eyelashes, like it's literally a therapy session. Like this is just great. Like it makes sense. Total sense. Listen, Anthony says, thank you all. So thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you. Coach Chris says, connect with him if you want to connect. Listen, it's been a pleasure, ladies. Thank you all for sticking in there, surviving COVID, sharing your story with the youth. Like it's so needed. Giving back today, taking your time out. I know you could have had a client or two, but you took the time out to stop by Lead the Way. And we are forever grateful. We truly are.
Thank you so much.
All right. I don't think we have any more questions. So we're going to hop off. You guys have a great rest of your night. Bye.
Bye.